Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. How are you? We are joined together today with a special guest all the way from the United States, from Los Angeles, Mr. Erkin Sidick. Mr. Erkin Sidick, he works for NASA. He is an engineer at NASA, and he is also the president of the Uyghur Projects Foundation. He is a Uyghur rights activist, shedding light and raising awareness of what is happening to the Uyghurs in Chinese-occupied East Turkestan. Welcome, Mr. Erkin Sidick. Thank you for spending your time with us today.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Welcome. For those of our followers, you guys understand the oppression that the Uyghur Muslims go through in Chinese-occupied East Turkestan. We have today Mr. Erkin Sidick. Could you please just introduce yourself briefly, who you are, what you do, and yes.
Okay. Yeah, I am an Uyghur. I was born in Aksu city of East Turkestan, which is in the southern part of East Turkestan. I went to school, elementary, middle, high school, university, all in that region in East Turkestan. I got my BS degree in electrical engineering and became a university teacher. I want to point out one thing, that I went to Uyghur language school until I finished my bachelor degree. So all the way is the Uyghur language school. One tragedy is that Uyghur language is gone, is banned by the Chinese government. After I graduated, I became a teacher at the same university. After that, I went to Japan, and I came to the US, got a master and a PhD degree, and I have been working in the US since then. I came to the US in 1988. It has been more than, it's 32 years now. So I work in a space optics technology industry. I'm a senior optical engineer. In the last 3 years, the Chinese government stepped up the destruction of the Uyghur people. Right now, this is the best word to describe what happened to the Uyghur people, because what China is doing is a combination of cultural, physical genocide, and also the mass murdering of the Uyghur people. So it's a complete destruction. What we had 3 years ago, completely gone. I just couldn't stay quiet while seeing all those things. So I tried to do some things that I could do, try to preserve Uyghur people.
Could you explain to us some of the work that you do? I mean, I follow you, but could you just be more specific as to some of the work that you do? You do run a live show, or you record what we call new information about our homeland. Could you explain to us what that entails and what that means?
When I was in East Turkestan, I was very influential. I did very well academically, and also I held several high positions in student organizations like Xinjiang University Student Association President, East Turkestan Student Association President, and Vice President of All China Student Federation, kind of. And I studied 3 languages in addition to my electrical engineering. I learned Chinese in the first year. Next 2 years, I learned English, and last 2 years, I learned Japanese. I speak 4 languages. I could teach at universities in 4 languages. Because of this, I have very strong influence in back home. So I started earlier. I started a student the mentoring service. Is a voluntary service. We had many students, very high-performing students who qualified to study abroad, but they didn't know what to do, how to get there. So I did counseling for them starting in 1990s. Actually, I have a website, maripat.com. Maripat means education. So I did all those things at that time. But in January of 2018, the last website, Uyghur website that I could post my article was closed in East Turkestan. Before that, I was writing articles in personal development, childcare, goal setting, the talents kind of things. But your website was closed, so I couldn't do anything for young people back home. So starting in 2018, I started to put my attention to abroad. So what happened is, because of my influence, a lot of people trust me. So they send me information. Some information comes from the people abroad who have relatives back home. They contact their home, I get some information, and whatever they get, they send it to me. But I have also some people in East Turkestan and also in Han provinces. They call it going over the wall kind of thing. They use some software to get over China's the internet wall and send information to me. So what I just felt a very strong responsibility to publicize what I got from the people like that. So starting last year, I started a video program. It's called New Information About Our Homeland. It's a weekly program. I started to broadcasting the new information I got from people around the world and also back home. It's the very latest information. And also, I try to send information like that to reporters as well. The one big obstacle that I have faced is when I send information like that to reporters, they say, "Okay, you don't have source, you don't have you don't have proof," kind of thing. That's true. The thing is, sad thing is, in late 2018, one 24 years old young Uyghur man contacted me from Kashgar in a Microsoft Messenger. Right after I learned that he was contacting from Kashgar, I said, "You are in a big danger. We should stop this. Your life is in danger." He said, "Erkin, I am so happy that I could talk to you today. I'm going to die. Maybe I live for another month. So it's okay. I want to give you all the information." So he told me some information about the concentration camps. One thing I learned at that time is he has relatives in concentration camps. He said all the females are given drugs and given shots, and they stopped menopause. The Uyghur women cannot give birth anymore. The ones married and the ones didn't marry yet, all of them the same. When I heard that, I immediately wrote it up in English, and I posted in Facebook. And at the same time, I broadcast in Uyghur language as well. This is one example. And I told him, "Please contact back to me. I want to know you are alive." And I don't check my messages that much, but he contacted me once in November 2018. After that, he stopped contacting me. He might be gone. I had another young person contacted from Han province, similar situation, and he disappeared too after that. I say this because China's internet control is so developed. The one time, one student in Shanghai contacted me about studying abroad, which happened about 2016 to 2017. After first contact, police came to her apartment, talked to her, asked questions. "How do you know Erkin? What is your relationship? What you have you been in contact in the past?" Kind of things. She said everything. The police takes her email, password, everything. And after that, the relationship was cut. I couldn't contact her anymore. But I knew the situation because her dad contacted me. I could talk about her dad, and her dad was arrested as well. This is the situation. Like one person writing me an email, for that reason they can go to jail. It happened. It happened for many thousand students. So this is a tragic situation that one of the situations we get. So this is related to how I get information. So that's the situation. I still have some people sending me information from East Turkestan and also in Han provinces right now. And basically, they are gambling their lives. They know it's so dangerous, but they're still doing it to save the Uyghur people.
You know, for the people that follow us, they know generally what's happening in East Turkestan. But could you, I mean, with someone that was born there, raised there, studied the system, knows their system, studied the university, could you explain the mentality behind what is going on? I mean, someone like me, obviously I went there during holidays, but I never really lived under the Chinese regime. Could you just explain to everyone how this CCP party thinks and why it works in such a manner that it does?
Gotcha. This is related to the Chinese culture, actually. We need to go back for about 2,000 years. If you compare the Chinese map 2,000 years ago and today, 2,000 years ago, the Chinese land is less than 30% of the current land. They expanded. For China, the culture is number one, not people. They use culture to assimilate other people. East Turkestan was occupied in 1949. At that time, they lied to the East Turkestan government, saying that if you only stay 3 years, we set over there and we will leave. This is their promise. This is a written promise, actually. One can find this from the archives. But they lied. They didn't keep their promise. Instead of they leaving, they brought in a lot of Chinese people continuously. Their goal is to assimilate our people. One needs to look at what has changed since 70 years ago. If you look at the Chinese official document, they say there are 56 ethnic groups in China. Actually, it's not. They're all gone. The ones left right now is Uyghurs and the Tibetans. The rest are gone. So the Uyghurs and Tibetans have been a big headache to Chinese government because they tried different things. Like during the Cultural Revolution, they relied on cultural genocide. At that time, they forbid the religion, for example, converted the mosque into an entertainment center or a pig farm, the kind of things they did. After that, they said, let us do the economic development. Maybe that will change the people. But they can assimilate the people, but that didn't work either. For that reason, the Chinese government came up with a very complex plan. This plan first revealed in 2014. It was under the direct direction of Xi Jinping, actually. I have some contacts in the central government, not directly, but through middlemen. I learned that plan about 2 years ago. This is a horrible plan. In 2014, the one person in China's Science Academy wrote to me saying, I have a brother, he saw a secret document. It is shocking. It is shocking. The Uyghurs will be destroyed. At that time, I didn't understand what that meant. I understood 2 years ago. The Xi Jinping made that plan. Basically, eliminate the Uyghur people completely. Basically, divide the Uyghur people into 3 groups. One is the elites, educated ones, smart ones. Put them in jail, concentration camp, transport to other part of China. Basically, murder them that way, make them lost. The second one is to go through this the concentration camp system and convert them to something like a robots. There's an English term called automatons. One can look it up. That term is basically, it's a humans, looks like humans, acts like humans, but they only do what the upper level person told them to do. No resistance to anything whatsoever. So there's an article recently from the Peter Winter. If you read that, you will know that Peter Winter reported by interviewing some Han Chinese policemen who worked in East Turkestan concentration camp for 2 years. They said the Uyghurs who came out of concentration camp, they cannot tell the right from the wrong. They're mentally ill. They're disordered. This is the second group the Chinese government is doing. The third group is the peasants, farmers. The Uyghur farmers, peasants are very little educated. Looks like they still they have been living in a very low level in the social chain. So the Chinese government even want to take away their education and change this to people to a level of like a middle age. And it is happening right now. If you look at East Turkestan right now, the old Uyghur people, the peasants were moved from the original birthplaces to other places, from the south to the north, from the north to the south. And when they do this shuffling, they are not allowing the relatives move together. They spreading. They separating all of them. This is a Chinese tactic to bring your people to a middle age so that they cannot communicate with each other, make a union with each other, and they don't remember anything about their history. And also, another key thing is they don't remember what happened in places where they lived until recently. Chinese government wants to erase the traces of their crimes. So because of this, based on the information I got, we have already lost about more than 5 million people. When I say lost, they are in concentration camps, prisons. The Chinese government carried out the mass transfer of the people from concentration camp to prisons. When I say mass transfer, in one concentration camp, the official give prison sentences to 500 people, not by trial, but based on a lookup table came from the government. Government wrote up a lookup table. For example, if you know Arabic, 7 years. If you pray 5 times, 15 years. If you have been abroad, 20 years. This is what that table says. Lookup table, converting people, transferring people from concentration camp to prisons. I'm not joking. This is real. I know all the numbers. And this is one thing. The second big thing is the world didn't pay much attention. The world saw some video, YouTube video. The people were transferred from one place to another, but didn't pay attention to the individual feature of those people. They all look so alike. The head is very, very same, all shaved. Those people are religious people. They have very strong religious belief. The Chinese government thought they are hopeless to be converted. So the Chinese government moved them to Han provinces, and they did 2 things to them. One is sold their organs. China has a halal organ business that the world didn't pay attention. This halal organ coming from those people. Even in a video that someone says, well, they are very clean. They never ate pork in their lives. That's true. We will never ate pork in their lives. So they're clean. They are allowed to Arabic people who want to have an organ transfer. This happened. Another one is a lot of those people initially are put in many spreaded jails, and they are being used for biological weapon experiments. The world don't understand this kind of things. The Chinese government, historically or now, they don't care about lives. Just think about the current pandemic, Chinese virus, CCP virus. There may be more than 1 million people have already died in China, but they don't care. They don't care less about that. So if experimenting the animals, one is cost money. Second is cannot do the real experiment because the biological weapons are developed for humans, not for animals. So right now, they have nearly 5 million people in their custody. They can do whatever they want. So they used Uyghur people for biological experiments. Third one, I got the news from a high official through middlemen that the Chinese government took some people to the next door provinces, Gansu, and they divided into a group of 50 people, took faraway places that no one lives, shot them, and they buried them. Recently, I posted a video on the Twitter. The Chinese the army burying a lot of people. If you pay attention, they just don't throw the body and they just bury them. They don't. They put something chemical on top of the body. This is for preparation for future. In the past, like a Kosovo, when people found the mass graves, the bones or something, people still could find them. In the case of China, one might never be able to find bones because they're putting chemicals together with the bodies. And I was even heard or told that the troops who shot the Uyghurs, 50 as a group, some people got crazy because doing that every day, some army member got crazy, and the official said, shoot them first and shoot the Uyghurs. They have an order, shoot the army member also if they get crazy. I got this kind of news. By this process, I think more than 1 million people have already died. I travel every year, but I couldn't travel this year. In the last couple of years, I was traveling like 10 countries, 7 countries, like that. I meet with a lot of people. Wherever I go, it's sorrow. Every family has a very sad story that they lost father, they lost mother, they lost brother. I lost several people that I know as well. My high school literature teacher, he became the principal of the school and served like 20 years. He was put in concentration camp in 2018 at the age of 78 and died 10 months later. I had another friend who came to US to study. He got 2 master degrees in business administration. His dad is a businessman in East Turkestan, one of the richest person. His asset is in billions of dollars. And his son got 2 master degree from 2000 to 2005. And he went back in 2005 with his father's request. His father basically asked him to come back and serve Uyghur people. They didn't have any need for money. But his dad asked him to go back and serve Uyghur people. He did. He went back. But in 2008, he was put in concentration camp. He came out 9 months later in October of 2018 and died 8 days later in Urumqi. The reason, internal bleeding. You hear a lot of people who could come out from jail or concentration camp die within 2 months due to internal bleeding. They get tortured in the prisons or in the camps. Purposely, Chinese the officials make them like a handicapped, basically, damaged inside. And when they see that person cannot survive, they send them home, and the people die at home. We have a lot of these cases. Now, in relation to this, another thing. Let me tell you another story. A couple of months ago, I heard a story that one person called Erkin Sidick died in Urumqi in 2015. He was only 50 years old, very strong, big guy, healthy guy. He was a teacher in an electrical school in Urumqi. And the school officials selected 7 people in 2015, during the summer in 2015, and took them for a vacation trip to 3 countries, Malaysia, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, for 2 weeks. When they came back to Beijing airport, the Erkin Sidick was arrested. The team lead was a school official from that school, and he testified saying, "This Erkin Sidick is a teacher in our school. He's an outstanding performer. We took him to the vacational trip as an award. He just came back from that trip, but police had my name in their list, in the blacklist. They tried to capture me, but captured that Erkin Sidick. And the school officials' testimony didn't work. The police told them, go home. This is not your business." So that Erkin Sidick was kept in Beijing for 3 days, tortured, questioned. After that, the Beijing police called the police in Urumqi, and they took him back to Urumqi. And he died in Urumqi 1 week later because of the internal damage he got during the torture in Beijing. That person, because his name is the same as me, died. I was very sad. I tried to testify for him and I tried to get some photos of him. I used my relationship in Urumqi, get a picture, and go to his school, find out. And people asked Uyghur people and the Chinese people, whoever heard Erkin Sidick, they ran away. Didn't say a single word. People scared to that level. So this is just three people, my personal people that I know, I learned, died like this. Now, another aspect of why China is so afraid of Uyghur people, why they want to get rid of Uyghur people. Another aspect is, in China's Defense University, there is a professor called Dai Xu. He is also an advisor to the central government. He did a field survey in East Turkestan from 2009 to 2011 with the arrangement of the government. We had a Urumqi massacre in July 5th of 2009. He went to East Turkestan after that. He did a survey, both southern part and northern part. And he came back and wrote a report to the government. He gave a lecture at the China Defense University. His lectures in the YouTube. This is what he said. Our government did a lot of things in East Turkestan, saying the first danger is the terrorism. Actually, it's not. It's not a terrorism. The Xinjiang's terrorism is nothing. That's what he said. It's not scary. It's nothing. It's just a show. That the real danger in Xinjiang, that's what he said, is the people. If one day China and US goes to war, the US can easily arm 300 to 500,000 Uyghur young men. And these young men will fight alongside the US troops against China. I will do everything in my power to solve this problem. This is what he said in that video. I have that video. Yes, he did something. Now, let me get back to you with another piece of information. Peter Winter reported that the Chinese government has transferred 500,000 Uyghur men to Han provinces. Is this coincidences? No. Do you know what kind of people they transferred? Believers. Believers. Believers don't give up their faith. Believers cannot bow to the Chinese government's pressure. The Chinese government knows it. So they said, these people are hopeless. Let them just take it to the other part of China, kill them, sell their organs. It's a clean organ, halal organ. Do biological experiment and kill the rest. There's a well-documented report by Peter Winter in this aspect about the fate of the Uyghur people who were transferred to Han provinces. All the information is there. Some people are kept 1 meter high, 1 meter wide, 1 meter deep, iron cage. And the Peter Winter says, the government never intends to keep them alive. They basically left them there to die. This is in the Peter Winter report. So this two also related. So the one is the Chinese policy of assimilation, the get rid of Uyghur people is a long-term policy. It happened all 70 years, all along. But starting 2017, it's intensified. Another fear is the issue is concern that if US and China goes to war, Uyghur people will fight against China with US. The third thing is the Road Belt Initiative. There are three main land routes for Belt Road Initiative. One of them passes through East Turkestan. The one goes to the Central Asia and Europe. Another two starts from East Turkestan. The ones that go to Gwadar port, and another one also goes to the Central Asia, then Europe, Iran, Iraq, that part. It starts from East Turkestan. For Chinese projects, the Road Belt Initiative to be successful, they have to have stability in East Turkestan. So the Chinese government thought East Turkestan is a factor of instability, and they wanted to solve this problem. One day in 2018, I got a piece of information from one person. He said, Erkin Aka means brother, Erkin Aka. A couple of days ago, Chinese army flattened 3 villages in Korla prefecture in one night. Even the bird couldn't escape. China, this is not the first time China doing this. They have done this in 2014 in Yarkand as well. That's the Chinese policy. If they want to kill the whole population in a place, they form 3 human circles. One is in 3 kilometers, another one 5 kilometers, another one 10 kilometers with the army. They surround the area completely, and moving the army, kill the people, flatten the village. It's not the first time, and they do it at night. The requirement: don't leave anything moving. There's one Chinese army who came to Western country, testified about the barren killings in 1990. He talks about a kid. He shot everybody, and one kid, 1 year old, moving, crying, on top of his mother, and he couldn't decide if he should kill him or not. Just stood there like a couple of minutes, and another army member came and killed the boy, and he was punished for that, for his mercifulness. This is a Chinese army member told to the Western media when he came out. This is what the Chinese do. So the Korla, the 3 villages flattened in one night, 10,000 people gone. Because they do it at night. After killings, they bulldoze all the houses, everything standing. If somebody comes next day, they don't know if anybody lived there or not in the past. This is the situation. So the reason they flattened the 3 villages, they wanted to build a free economic trade center in Korla prefecture for Central Asia and Europe. They needed the land. Because of that need, they flattened 3 villages in one night. This is how China does things. Now, I am telling all those things, and the reporter says that you don't have source, you don't have proof. How we can have proof and source except a message like that? The truth we can find out is that someone to go there and to check it out in person. China knows us so well that whatever they do, the first thing they do is to kick out the reporters. In the case of East Turkestan, they even kicked out the foreign students. No foreign students in Urumqi. They kicked out all of them after 2017. This is called close the door and hit the dog in Chinese. Guanmer dago. Close the door, hit the dog. So they kick out the reporters, kick out all the foreigners, threaten all the population, local population. If you tell this to somebody, you will go to jail. After that, they do anything they want, and they achieve their goal. That's what the Chinese government is doing. So,
okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to talk about your organization, the Uyghur Projects Foundation. Could you tell me a little bit about it, what your organization does? Could you just tell our audience a bit about that?
The Uyghur culture is one of the very, what I can call, it's one of the cultures that contributed to the world civilization a lot. We have a unique way of life, and Uyghur people very socialized, very happy people. That one of the reasons is we had the more land, we had more food than what we needed. When I was in high school, I did a survey. I surveyed many villages, what their life in the past. The one thing in common is Uyghur people had a lot of food before 1949. Because of that, because people developed a culture that are living happily under all circumstances because they have enough food to eat. So Uyghur people are very happy people, and they love dance, music, song, this kind of thing. So we have a unique culture basically, and this culture also targeted by the Chinese government. In addition to our language was banned. Books, Uyghur books, all are burnt, destroyed, and even the culture. Now, if you can see, I just got a video today. The small kids performing on the streets, dancing Chinese dance. The Uyghur dance not allowed anymore. So the Uyghur culture language is disappearing in East Turkestan because Chinese government does not allow for them to exist right now. So I felt a strong need to preserve Uyghur language and the culture abroad. We have less than 100,000 people abroad, excluding Central Asia. I couldn't get a number in Central Asia, but if you exclude Central Asia, we have about 100,000 Uyghur people. So this is the resort that we have right now to keep the Uyghur language and the culture alive. So I felt a strong need to get organized and to do something to preserve our language and the culture. So the Uyghur Projects Foundation main aim is that. So we are giving some financial support to various projects. For example, recently we published several books. It's like an elementary school student textbook. Some other books related to Uyghur literature. We are doing those things, and in the future, we also trying to make some TV series, drama, depicting Uyghur life, and also do a performance, the stage performance. We have two ensembles right now. One is Australia, Onshki Mukham Uyghur Ensemble, and another one European Uyghur Ensemble. We want to support them financially so that they can go around the world and perform and tell the world who are Uyghurs. At the same time, we want to organize some classes to young Uyghurs to learn Uyghur language and this kind of performing arts and other Uyghur culture. This is the main aim that we are having.
Okay, sort of the final question here. What do you hope for the future, and what can people do for the Uyghur cause?
Right now, the U.S. is standing very firm in the case of Uyghur people's human rights violation. And we are very happy and we are very grateful to that. There are two more areas that should come to work. One is the Turkish world, another one the Muslim world. Because of the pressure from Chinese government, these two worlds still keeping quiet, silent about Uyghur issue. It greatly disappointed me that our Muslim brothers and sisters didn't stand up against for us. The Uyghur people didn't have religious freedom since East Turkestan was occupied in 1949. We are given very little freedom to carry out our religion, sometimes on, sometimes off. For example, during Cultural Revolution, it was turned off, and all the religious figures were executed, persecuted. Even though Uyghur people lived under a condition like that, when the Palestinian people had problem, the Uyghur people got organized in East Turkestan, gave spiritual support, also even did some donation collection. Uyghur people were not rich, but when it came to Muslim brothers and sisters, they are very cautious very sensitive about that. And they organized and they collected money and tried to send it to Palestinian people. As another part of the support, a lot of people name it his son, Arafat. My own sister's son's name is Arafat. My two close friends' names sons are Arafat. They all have this name Arafat in support of Palestinian people. When the US invaded Iraq, Uyghur people did the same thing, trying to support Iraqi people. And many people named their sons Hussein. Right now, all these names are illegal in China. Nobody can name their sons, but a lot of Uyghur people got that names. This is the Uyghur people. This is our understanding. We thought that we had a lot of discussions on the internet saying, is the racial characteristic is number one, or Ummah is number one? And 80-90% of Uyghur people say, oh, Ummah. Ummah is number one. Ummah comes first. And next one is the race. This whole Uyghur people understood being Muslims. What's the Muslims? That's Uyghur people's understanding. But when it came to us, the Muslim world, the Turkic world, turned the blind eyes to us and keeping silent. And so it made me think a lot. In some presentations that I made I gave in mosques or schools, I said, okay, something is wrong. Either the Islam that we learned is wrong, or what the Muslim world doing is wrong. We didn't get the support. There are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. This is a huge power. If the Muslims can stand up for each other, the things that happen to Uyghur people should not happen. But it's happening, continuous happening. We are being destroyed day by day, even today. And we are not getting help from the Muslim and the Turkic worlds. So I hope in the past, I cry when I see some movies, when I see scenes that people die for principles. People are willing to die, but they are not willing to give up the principles. When I see scenes like that, I cry. But I don't see that anymore in the Muslim world or in the Turkic worlds. You see, if that's the principle of the Islam, that Muslims should come together, should work as a family against oppressor. If this is an Islamic principle, people should keep them to be qualified as a Muslim. Otherwise, they are not qualified Muslims. So recently, this whole thing came to my mind, and I got very disappointed. I don't know what else I can say. This tragedy came to us today. Yeah, it may come to other Muslims tomorrow or in the future. If you just keep silent like now, our future is not going to be good. I hope the Muslim world, Arabic world, and the Turkic world wake up and do something to help Uyghur people. I think the Uyghurs were destroyed by like 80% right now. Nothing that I knew of exists right now. They all gone. But we still have populations back home, and we should keep them alive. We should not lose as we are losing today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Erkin Sidick, for spending your time explaining your perspective on things. We really do appreciate your time. Just want to tell everybody here that you guys can find Mr. Erkin Sidick on Twitter at Erkin Sidick. You can find the Uyghur Project Foundation. We have the banner there. You can go and donate to his project. We see that it is very beneficial, trying to save or trying to protect the Uyghur culture abroad, which is a very difficult thing to do. Please make sure that you share this video with friends and family and do your bit to raise awareness about the Uyghur Muslims in Chinese-occupied Turkestan. Do you have any last words, Mr. Erkin Sidick?
Yes, I want to just tell one more example that we are supporting. We are doing a donation activity. We are supporting one school in Istanbul, Yira Uyghur School. They have about 170 students. The reason I picked them to help is I talked to one teacher of the school. She has 4 children, small children. She got a bachelor degree in China before she went to Turkey. She was a teacher before too, and she's the principal of the school right now. And she's getting 1,000 lira per month. And her husband does not work because her husband, his status was gone. His passport expired, and he does not have a work permit to work in Turkey. So 6 people, income is 1,000 Turkish lira. She couldn't live in Istanbul, close to school. She had to go to suburb, and she travels every day, and pays like a 400 lira for rent, and for commuting she spends about 200 lira. Look at her money, what's left for living. So when I heard that, I said, okay, this is not good. Right away, I every month I gave her another 1,000 lira. Now I'm collecting donations for that school. There are about 7 teachers living like that.
Sorry,
okay,
what's the school's name?
Okay.
What's the school's name?
Hira Uyghur School.
Hira Uyghur School.
Hira.
And it's in Istanbul?
In Istanbul, yes.
Let's keep going. I was just writing the name. Please explain.
Okay. Yeah. So they have about 7 teachers, and they're running the school like this. And I asked them, why those kids don't go to Turkish school, government school? Why you have to carry this burden? And they explained to me, those kids are orphans or like a husband died. The husband, we have several thousand people who went to Syria in the past and died there. They left the wives and the kids in Turkey. So because of their status, legal status, they cannot go to Turkish school. So these people didn't want to leave those kids alone, try to educate them. So they set up the school and running the school by themselves with very little money. And that's one of the projects that we are supporting, Uyghur Projects Foundation supporting right now. And there are 170 kids, not big number to many people, but if you're one of them, what do you think? It's a tragedy. So we want to educate those people. So we are doing things like this.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. As you've just heard, please donate to the Hira Uyghur School. If you type in Hira Uyghur School Istanbul, you'll find a link, and we'll share the link to the foundation as well. It says Hira Vakfı, but we'll share the link when we post this video. Thank you so much again, and we hope to have you back in the future. Thank you
for this opportunity. I am so grateful.
And early, we have Eid in the next few days. So an early Eid Mubarak to you and to everyone watching.
Thank you. Same is here. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam. Eid Mubarak.